So in this video today, I want to share with you what shadow work is, what it means to do shadow work, and why it's so important for us to do shadow work as part of our spiritual growth. I'm also going to share with you 5 practical activities that will get you started on your path of doing shadow work. When I was studying for my life coaching diploma, I came face to face with many aspects of my shadow. At the time, I was triggered immensely by a woman who studied with me, and all of those aspects of myself that I hated, that I felt ashamed of, and that I judged, I saw all of this in her, and it really triggered me on so many different levels. Now, at the time, I didn't do anything with this information except to continue to feel triggered and annoyed by this woman. And I think that is really what happens to so many of us, is often we get confronted by our shadows, but unless we do something with it, unless we work and process and integrate these shadow aspects of ourselves, they continue to show up in our lives. Next, I want to talk about how I see the shadow and why it is so important for us to integrate these aspects of ourselves so that we can live more fully. So the way that I see it is as follows. Imagine that your shadow is a secret that you are keeping, right? So this is a secret that you are keeping. It's a part of yourself that you are hiding from the world. You use a lot of energy to keep this a secret, right? You have to use your life force energy to keep this aspect hidden, either hidden from yourself or hidden from people in your life. Now, if you only have 100% of energy available, what does this mean practically? You might only show up with 50% of your life force energy in relationships. You might show up only with 10% with your colleagues, or 60% with your friends, or whatever the number is for you. The point is, we are using our life force energy that we can use to co-create our lives with, that we can use to fully express ourselves and to be fully authentic. We are using that instead to keep these unlovable aspects of ourselves hidden from the world. So if you can begin to integrate, to accept, and to embrace those parts of yourself which you think are not lovable, can you see how that frees up your energy to really step into the fullest version of yourself? We cannot be authentic if we have unloved parts in ourselves. Okay, so the goal of shadow work then is for us to accept and love all parts of ourselves. Now, let's talk about some of the practices that you can do to get you started on the work of fully loving and accepting and integrating all parts of yourself. So the first step, which is so important and obvious when it comes to doing shadow work, is you have to first become aware of these shadows, right? You have to become aware of what is it that triggers you. What is it that annoys you? And from this point, you can then start to work and delve deeper, uncover those emotions. But self-awareness is key. Now, when you work with your emotions, it's very important not to intellectualize them. So the temptation that's always there when we work with some of our heavier emotions is to escape from feeling the emotion into thinking about the emotion. So we try to understand and deal with the emotion on a rational mind level, which doesn't really do anything to help to clear the emotion. Something that you can try for yourself when you work with a deeper, heavier emotion is to really feel it in the body and be curious about it. Be curious. Where is it going? How is it moving inside my body? How is it feeling? How is it expressing itself? So really engage with this feeling. And what you can also do is you can even try to amplify it. You can try to feel it more. So if you're feeling judgment, Try and feel more judgment. Try and feel as much judgment as you can. With any of these emotions, though, I have to say here, when you are doing this kind of embodied work, it's very, very, very important that you take self-responsibility, that you're doing these things either with a coach or a teacher that's going to support you. When you're doing this by yourself, make sure that you are doing it in a safe environment and that you won't harm yourself or other people in the process. It's very important to take self-responsibility for this. A third aspect of shadow work is to do inner child work. Now, I speak about this a lot in my videos as well. Inner child work is foundational to beginning to heal ourselves, to help us to really fully engage and show up for ourselves. Many of our wounds rather come from childhood. That's just a normal part of being a human. It's a part of growing up. So when we don't have the opportunity to process these emotions, or when we continue going through life believing that those things that we experienced and bought into as children is still valid and true for us today, it can cause havoc in our lives. And I'll tell you, it's a big problem if your 5-year-old inner child is the one making important decisions in your life. But that is what happens. If we walk around with a wounded inner child, he or she is the one that makes many, many, many of our life decisions. And that's why sometimes, we're sitting with a whole lot of problems in our own lives. So working with our wounded inner child is an aspect of shadow work. And there are different ways in which you can do that. Again, you can work with a teacher or you can do a guided meditation. I have this guided meditation. I'll link it for you in the description below as well that you can try. And the important thing with inner child work is to nurture and love your inner child and to be there for your inner child. The next activity is a self-love exploration activity, and you can journal about this or you can meditate on this. I like journaling because I find when you have to write what it is that you are feeling, it forces you to formulate it in a certain way, so you are automatically diving deeper to make it clearer to yourself so that you can express it. It's a lot more powerful than Sometimes it's a lot more powerful than just simply being in the feeling of it, because it gives you that additional layer of clarity or insight. So what this looks like in practice is when you notice that you are being triggered by someone, you are either feeling judgmental towards them, or you feel rejected by them, or you feel disrespected by them, is you can explore this, and it's a 2-step process, by the way. So you explore this by saying, for example, I'm mad because I feel rejected. Where in my life am I rejecting myself? Or where in my life am I disrespecting myself? Or where in my life am I judging myself? So that's part 1. And then part 2 is, how can I bring more self-love to that? How can I love myself more? What loving actions can I take to myself? Because that's the bottom line. It's all about how can I fully love and accept myself. And I think the mistake or the trap that we can easily fall into when we are on a personal development journey, when we are on a self-growth journey, is we might wait for self-love to happen to us. So we're doing a lot of work and we're waiting for the self-love to happen. And it actually works the other way around, because what we want to do is we want to learn how to reprogram our subconscious minds so that we become more loving towards ourselves. And the way that we do that is by behaving as if we are already loving ourselves. So basically, in a nutshell, what it means is when you start taking action as if it is already true, this is how we reprogram our minds. This is how we start to co-create that reality in our lives. So explore then, how can I be more loving towards myself? What actions, what things can I do that will express me loving and being accepting of who I am? The final activity that I have to share with you is working with the dark goddesses. So the goddesses represent many of the aspects which we keep in shadow, many of those aspects which we hide and deny. And when you either work with a teacher or you meditate with these goddesses, it can help you get that insight and illumination. Embodied meditation will actually help you to move through the process of having that insight or the awareness of the shadow. It gives you the space to process the emotions and the feelings that come up as a result of the shadow, and it also allows you to integrate this. So it's a good idea if you are interested in working with the dark goddesses when it comes to shadow work. You can also do it in journaling, but I found that embodied meditations are very powerful. So it's a good idea then to find a teacher or a coach that can help you do that. And some of the goddesses that you will work with when it comes to the shadow are Lilith or Kali or Hecate. They're three very powerful goddesses that can help you explore those shadow aspects. So when you love and embrace all aspects of yourself, that is when you can truly be authentic. That's when you can show up as who you really are. And I think that's a very cool way of being.